Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 21 with our Detroit Tigers. And today we are at the International Free Agent Signing Deadline. So, well, not the deadline, but the day that it opens up. So let's take a look at the guys who are available. Doesn't look like there's too much talent this year. Most of the guys look to peak out at 3-star players. Our scout doesn't know much about a few of them. That guy there, Luis Maldonado, first baseman, a decent hitter, not really good eye or ability to avoid strikeouts. Looks like that gap power is his signature skill there. Looks like a doubles machine probably that can't run at all. Felix Puente looks like he could be interesting. Shortstop, although it looks like he probably won't be a shortstop in the majors. Looks more like a second base. Looks more like a utility kind of guy. Actually, he looks like he could be a decent outfielder at 65 range. It looks like this guy definitely could be an outfielder. Looks like he could be a pretty good, useful utility guy. Maybe some corner infield. Possibly play a little shortstop, a little second base. Probably could play any outfield position, so he's kind of an interesting guy to me. Danny Ramirez looks kind of interesting. Throws a bunch of pitches. All of them look like they're going to be pretty decent. Okay, the OSA ratings pretty much match up with our scout. Sylvian Salverda. Looks like this guy is actually a pretty good player. Our scout has looks like a lot of information on this guy. Looks like a fast guy who can hit for power. Looks like probably could be a center fielder. Has pretty decent range, but probably could play center or left. He doesn't have a great arm. Probably not the arm to play right. No, not interested in him at all. No. No. I think it's honestly between Puente and that outfielder. This guy's really interesting to me just because of his outfield ratings. 65 range is pretty ridiculous. Of course, pretty much any guy we're going to be playing in center field at Comerica, in our organization, we're going to want that guy to have extraordinary range. And we're definitely not going to play anybody in center field long term in this franchise that isn't a rangy outfielder. So he could definitely fit that role, and I definitely like his offensive profile. If he could fit that role for us, that would be quite good. Although this guy is also not bad. Honestly, these guys are both looking very good. And of course, this guy we know more about. It's basically kind of choosing between that range and this guy's versatility, because I don't think that this guy can play any infield, and no, he can't. I also don't like that this guy doesn't really have an arm though, which just kind of turns me off. It's not that much worse than him, but I'm not sure. I think we just might go with this guy just for the sake that did not mean to click on him again. Just for the sake that our scout knows a bit more about him. Although it does look like this guy is going to be able to get on base, and this is actually really tough. I actually don't know. I think we're gonna have to go with the other guy though, because our scout just does not know that much about the other guys, so we're just going to go ahead and just offer him the full 5. So he will sign on, and then I will meet you guys at the trade deadline, where we are going to be making moves and kind of finishing out our moves for the season. And as you can see here, we are 5th in the standings. I don't feel like there's really necessary to do okay, what the heck? Okay, no, he did sign on with us. Sweet. Okay, cool. So we're gonna just keep checking on to the trade deadline. I'll probably do a little stats update then. Okay, and looking here quick at this year's All-Stars, we do have one that I see so far, Joe Jimenez, and at closer, well, not at closer, but reliever for the All-Star team. So that is pretty cool to see. So this is our second year, of course, in the franchise, and we've had a guy represent us in the All-Star game both years. I do not see anyone else, which is not very surprising at all, but that is still cool of note. Let's actually check out the Futures game, which is new to this year's game, I believe. So let's check this out real quick, and I already saw a good name that I want to see in this, of course, Jordan Walker, our #1 pick from last year's draft. Pretty nice there, having a great season so far in rookie ball, continuing from last year, so that is great to see. He's already well outperformed how he did last year, and I don't see anyone else. I think that is it for that. So that is pretty cool to see that our #1 pick is doing good things. Okay, so here we are not quite at the trade deadline, but we're still going to start making our moves for this offseason. Of course, there are some guys who we just aren't going to be able to move because of their hurt. Guys like Michael Former and Matt Boyd, who I'm not sure if I would have tried to move anyway, but we are going to just go ahead and start. So first, Brian Dozier, of course, who we have planned to move all year. Quick look at his numbers here. Of course, he kind of has been struggling all year, but his numbers kind of have actually improved a little bit of recently. His slugging's gotten above 400, and he's hitting a little bit better. He's at 22 home runs in the air, which is good to see that his power bat, which of course is what he's known for, is still looking decent at least. So we're going to go ahead and shop him around for any prospect that we can get. I know our owner already probably isn't going to like this move because he's the nationally popular player that he wanted us to acquire, but I really don't care. So we're just going to move him anyway because there's no sense in keeping him on the team, and actually kind of a little bit regret signing him because he's like, if we get a decent return, that probably won't be too bad, but he's still blocked Paredes from getting a lot of time in the field, so we definitely want that. I saw a 25-year-old outfielder here who we probably will look at. There's nothing too special. He honestly might be the best we can kind of get. None of these guys are particularly good. A lot of kind of older prospects in here. This guy has good control. Honestly, that outfielder might be what we have to do here, as they're not really looking that good. Ty Tice. No. That guy with good control was kind of interesting. Devin Smeltzer doesn't have great stuff, but he has some good pitches. Actually, I think we probably will go through this sidearm guy. His pitches kind of interest me in his good control, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. Of course, it's not gonna do much for money because Dozier's only on like a $3 million a year deal, and most of that has already been covered by the portion of the season that we played. And Zach Cozart, of course, who is only on about $1 million for us this year, but he's been performing really well. You saw quickness stats there. His OBP is in the 370s. Has been slugging over 500, well over 500, and out of the more than 100 plate appearances that he's gotten. So it's going to be interesting, I think, here to go ahead and look at what offers we're going to get for him. I don't actually exactly know what I think we're going to get because, he was kind of a buy low, a low risk, high reward veteran guy. No one's even offering up a prospect for Cozart, so we might have to just hang on to him. See anything else. If we could get absolutely anything at all from him, it could be decent. Even like a future bullpen arm that's like 25 or is around 3 stars, that's team controllable or something. I'd take that. and pretty much anything. Because I mean, we definitely won't be bringing Kozar back next year unless we drastically shake up the infield or guys have career-ending injuries or something. Getting a few offers here, definitely none that I like. Peraza maybe, but I mean that'd be pretty much the same situation, just a kind of veteran infielder that we never would bring back. I saw Blake Wood, guy who we brought in last year as a reliever. Now I'm pretty much seeing anything at all. There's like Rhys Hoskins, maybe Machado. I don't really kind of understand. Okay, yeah, it looks like they're offering up a bunch of veteran guys that are making a ton, but I'm definitely not interested in any of those. Yu Darvish, definitely do not want him. It doesn't. I mean, honestly, there's probably no point in getting a lot of these guys. Betances has performed well on his pretty low contract so far. Maybe if we could actually do this and get them to eat a little bit of money from this could be worth it for us. Because, I mean, that kind of performance on a reliever contract would be interesting, although this probably really isn't realistic unless the Dodgers need some infield help. I mean, they have Seager, Muncy, Gavin Lux at second, Eugenio Suarez, who has not been good for them, actually. Tim Beckham, who's also not been good for them. Chris Taylor, who has also not been good for them. So, I mean, they definitely could be looking to upgrade the infield. Let's just take a quick look at how the roster's kind of shaping out right now. Let's see if this would kind of be a realistic deal that'd be willing to do. Yeah, Suarez has been getting a lot of at-bats for them at third. Kozar, of course, can play third. Pitching depth-wise, I mean, Betances is slotted right in there in the middle of the rotation. And they definitely have, they have Walker Buehler on a rehab assignment right now. So, I mean, they definitely have some guys who they can call up, and they definitely have a lot of depth. But I just don't think they trade that kind of depth for to bring in a guy like Kozar. So I think, honestly, we might just stand pat here. I don't really think that there could really be many more moves made. There's one more I know that I want to try if I can ever find us here. And I think the very last thing that we're going to try here is shopping Daniel Norris. And as last year, team control is going to be a free agent next year. I definitely don't know if I'm going to bring him back. I mean, there probably won't be any reason to. We'll definitely be trying to build more of some of our younger arms. So I definitely don't think that my first choice would be to bring him back. And of course, we're trying to kind of build towards more of that winning season. So definitely don't want to bring in a veteran guys that would hinder a lot of the development of some guys in the future. And yeah, we can't really, looks like, get anything for him either. I don't want any overpaid veterans. The thing is, a lot of teams could be looking for depth starting pitching, as it is like kind of that time of the year though, where a lot of guys start going down and teams' lack of pitching depth really can show. So I mean, he could definitely be a back of the rotation kind of guy, or depth guy who comes in for an injury, just a kind of placehold. If they do have a guy who's injured now and planning on coming back in the relatively near future. So, I mean, he definitely still could be valuable, a lot more valuable than Kozar, especially kind of the Dodgers situation that we're looking at, where they definitely would not trade a reliever who's having a really good season for them just for a bench infield bat slash guy who can step in at third for Suarez, who was struggling quite a bit. I'm seeing Hoskins here being offered up. He's, of course, he's on actually a really team-friendly contract. He's, of course, not been performing well at all. He was decent last year. Definitely decent enough to warrant his contract. But I definitely don't think that's realistic, giving away a guy like Norris for a guy like Rhys Hoskins, who's on a kind of longer term deal for a team in the Phillies that are definitely rebuilding, and not because they haven't been winning at all. And they're currently in last place, just like we are in their division. Take a quick look at it at least. If we get them to maybe eat some money, I mean, this could be a pretty good buy low option for us, especially if we Jared Walker hasn't been good at first base for us, so Hoskins could be definitely an interesting guy for us. And I think honestly we might do this deal because, I mean, he hasn't been performing well. They might be looking to, dump that contract in someone else, even though it is relatively team friendly compared to what I think he could do in the future and what he could be. That could be a pretty good steal for us, and he could be a kind of first base / DH kind of guy, or just at least a bench bat who'd be pretty low cost. And I mean, if we're not bringing Norris back, I mean, let's just look how good he's been for us this year, or how bad he's been. ERA over 6. I mean, hasn't really been doing anything. At least not anything to warrant keeping around. FIP over 5. I mean, he's gotten worse and worse as career's gone on. I mean, he was worth 3.2 wins for us last year, but I mean, or his WAR was 3.2. I mean, FIP minus 97. I mean, I think honestly just kind of want to take the flyer in this deal and hope that Hoskins can put it together or do something. I mean, if they're eating a lot of this money in this deal, I mean, we're basically going to be paying him nothing, especially when it comes down to when he's making about $6 million a year. I mean, we won't really be paying him anything. I mean, he can get on base. He's a decent power bat to have. I honestly think we're going to go through with this deal. So do that. And pretty sure this is the first time we've acquired. This is definitely the first trade we've made to acquire someone in this game. We're definitely going to have to fiddle around with the 40 man here. Jared Walker's hurt, it looks like. He's got an earache. But I think we're going to put him on the DL for now. Actually do that. And then Hoskins on the major league roster. And then we're going to have to bring up some pitching depth. We're definitely going to need to bring up a starter. Wentz, who's on rehab assignment, 15 days left, so he's ready. And then someone else, McKay, he was extremely bad for us in the majors this year. Just the ERA of 9, and that's really all you need to know. We'll bring up Feltman. He's been good in AAA, at least promising. So with that, all of that said, quick, just run through stats. I'm kind of interested to see how this puts the lineup. With kind of Walker out, Hoskins in. So it has Cousins leading off, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, he is a on-base guy, which is kind of cool to see. Gardenhire kind of doing that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, Hoskins slotted in there at first. Paredes still DHing. Castro in at second. Honestly, I might want to... Yeah, we're going to lock Paredes in the second here because I want him getting at bats over... Castro. I mean, any other developments here? I mean, not really. Dahlbeck has been good for us still. Coming back from his injury, of course. Kind of just rolling through. I mean, pretty much, yeah, Candelario has actually fallen off a lot. He's been really struggling so far, so I definitely want to get him more regular bats. See if that could change something for him. Pitching wise, I mean, Wentz has been good in the 4 starts he's made. Jimenez has been good. Brian Garcia has actually been really good for us too. Zach Houston, who we brought up, has been good. Blackwood hasn't been bad. I mean, we've got some decent pitching performances actually for some guys that I haven't really expected, so that's been kind of cool to see actually. But I think that's gonna do it for this episode. I'm going to call it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.